Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. I believe I'm starting right on time, which is surprising. I'm usually either early or late. So I happen to be able to get my stuff together in time for today's video, which is a nice change. How is everybody doing today? I hope everybody's having a good day if you are at work, or if you're not at work, having a good day in general, productive day. This is just going to be a get to know me / Q&A video. So I figured there's going to be some stuff that I'm changing about the content, and I've talked a little bit, but I figured if it doesn't come up in chat, I will at the end just kind of say the direction I plan on going with certain things, so everybody's kind of up to speed, so to speak. I don't really plan on being live too long, maybe an hour, just kind of depends, or less. Pretty much, I don't anticipate being here longer than an hour. Hey, Michelle, how are you? And I left the door open, so if you guys can hear the pitter patters of the dogs walking, hopefully that's not too distracting. I'm not sure if it's able to be picked up or not. So I can hear them walking around back there. So I figured I would give everybody a heads up. It's Thursday and you're off today and tomorrow, and then it's the weekend. It's always a good day of the week when you know your weekend is coming up on you. Hey, Caroline. Hey, Nana Hawk. Thank you for joining membership. I appreciate that. So while I wait just for a couple of people, I'm not waiting for anybody specific, but just while we wait see if anyone else joins us, I had told some of you guys in my crafting stream that I had been doing some testing on some of the Zodiac molds that I got, and they cured overnight. So these are the few that I did. I just did one little mat, and let me find one that's, hey, April. So I don't know if it's going to focus, but it's just clear with some silver flakes in it. This was just a test. But I did one whole skew just to see how this resin would work. Got a whole bunch of them right here, all different ones, just so I can have some product to put on the page. Should be going up soon. So we can go ahead and hop right on in. Nobody feel shy. I'm kind of not going to set any parameters. You guys can ask questions about me. You can ask questions about the channel. You can kind of ask whatever you want. And if it's something I'm uncomfortable answering, I will acknowledge that I'm uncomfortable answering it. I doubt that will happen, but if it does, I'll let you guys know. So if anybody has any question at all, feel free to ask. That's kind of what I figured this live stream could be. Hey, Jakes, how are you? So whenever you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat. Otherwise, I can just randomly talk about random stuff all day, every day. Thank you, Jakes. I appreciate that. I actually put hardly any effort into my eyeshadow today. Hey, Susan. I just used one of the Stila. Which one is this? In Sunset Cove. One of the glitter and glows. This is what I used on my eyes today. And I actually lined my waterline, my bottom waterline, which I don't do very often anymore. And I put very minimum base products on. So I appreciate the compliment because I didn't put too much makeup on today. does anybody have any? I know some places are kind of like panicking, like Texas, because I guess I saw that their governor wants to open up. So I've seen a lot of panic on the social medias today. I hope everybody's anxiety and stress is not too high. I could pull up random questions, I guess, just in case. I'm pretty open with you guys, so I don't know how many people would even have questions. Let me see if I can find. I have my laptop balancing today up higher, so I'm not looking down when I'm reading the chat. And because of that, I don't want it to fall over, so I am going to grab my phone and see if I can find any like random silly questions, things that I probably wouldn't think to ask. Let's see if I can find one. How are Paisley and Whiskey? They're puppies. I mean, they're not really puppies. They're good. They were pitter-pattering a little bit ago. I don't hear them anymore, so they're probably on the couch taking a nap. I turned all the lights off out there so they would hopefully relax and not be mischievous. I do have I have that video of the dogs pretty much put together. I just have a couple of things I need to edit out from when I was filming. So hopefully I can get that done here soon for you guys. Hey, Kelly, how are you? I feel like there's like standard questions. I'd like to answer like some weird questions. So I'm trying to see if I can find like an interesting one. Hey, Lisa, how are you? I hope everybody is doing well who is joining in. Michelle, you have a question. You want to know where I met my husband. I mean, I know where I guess I probably haven't talked about this before. So it's an interesting story, really. I met my husband initially at a beach because one of my really good guy friends was his good guy friend, and he was with his buddies because my good guy friend, I don't want to say his name, we'll call him Joe. So we had a mutual friend named Joe. We actually had several mutual friends, but Joe was one of my really good guy friends, and he was one of my husband's really good guy friends. So I was going to the beach one day, and I asked if Joe was doing anything. He said, "Oh, a couple of us are at the beach." So I took my friends to his friends. So I actually met my husband there for the first time. He did not like me because I pretty much am sure I've told you guys this before. I come off very cold in real life, and he thought I was a bitch. And he didn't talk to me. And then I would go out with Joe, like we would go out drinking and dancing, and a few times he brought my husband along. Pretty much what happened, as embarrassing as this may be, I got extremely intoxicated one night while out with Joe and his friends, my husband being one of them. And him and I ended up kissing, and then the next day I was not that kind of person. I went home by myself, but the next day I was told about some of my antics the night before. So I reached out to my husband on Facebook, and I was like, "Hey, so hope you don't read too much into what happened." And he was like, No, clearly you were intoxicated. And then we all just started hanging out because Joe was about to deploy. So there was a lot of house parties, and I was 21, mind you. There were a lot of house parties and things to say goodbye to him because we were all 21, 22-ish, within that range. So we were at that part of our lives. So I ended up really hitting it off with my husband, and we moved rather quickly. We ended up starting to date like 2 weeks before we moved in together, and then we ended up getting married like 3 months later. That's a whole nother story. If you guys want to know about it, I'll tell you guys. But we moved very quickly into our relationship. What's something random you guys wouldn't know about me? It really depends on what kind of content of mine that you have watched. I've been pretty open about me and like things that I've experienced and like weird, quirky things about me. Uh, One of the things is I was actually born overseas. I was not born in the US. I am a US citizen, though. That's, if you haven't watched my adoption story or my foster care journey, you wouldn't know that. I was born in France. I don't know if that hits what you were asking, Dana. If not, you feel free to ask anything. So, how can you tell if someone's sad fishing? You keep hearing about the topic. I'm not fully versed on this term sad fishing, to be 100% honest. My assumption is it's when people are gaining sympathy, like they're intentionally putting out content or making people feel bad for them with the hopes of gaining something out of it, whether it's somebody subscribing to their channel, someone sending them money. They're just using a sympathy card. They're pulling at people's heartstrings. I don't know how it got termed sad fishing or when that became a word. Honestly, the only way I can think that you can spot that is by watching people's behaviors and going with your gut intuition. If you think somebody's being shady or things don't add up, go with your gut. Like don't feel like you need to send the money even if you have it. Only donate to who you think you want to donate money to. Nobody should be judged for who they donate money to or who donates the money. That's kind of nobody's business but those two individuals, in my opinion. So I don't know if that fully answers your questions, but that's kind of my take on it. And I've noticed with content that I've consumed before and that I consume currently, if I have a weird feeling at any point of watching that creator, at some point, if they're shady or if their intentions aren't pure, I usually had a gut instinct and I just tried to ignore it. So I've kind of learned to just go with my gut instinct. And if it's telling me something's off, I don't pry unless someone's going to tell me something. I don't pry for information. Um, but you know, that's kind of how I tell. I don't know. Could be wrong. You can't do makeup at all. Your daughter's a makeup expert. All you ever show on camera are your eye or your ear. I mean, it took me, whenever I first started my channel, I was filming with my phone and the back camera, like it wasn't this phone, it was my other phone, but this camera was better than my front facing camera on the phone I had. So I would actually film with my phone backwards. So the back facing camera was to me, and I used a mirror to see my reflection to make sure I was in focus. What's my favorite takeout? I'm such an indecisive person. I am really, really indecisive. So questions like that are actually very hard for me to answer because it's going to just depend on the day and my mood and what sounds good. To be honest, there's not like one thing that I could always eat just about anything. Does that mean I'm in the mood for it? Not necessarily. So I'm trying to think if honestly, it's probably Burger King. I like the Whopper. So that's probably, and my husband does not like Burger King that often. So whenever I do eat out and he's not here or he's not with me, that's usually what I opt to do. For a nicer restaurant, like to go out and eat, I would say anywhere that serves a really good steak. Hey, Rain. Our wedding story was we moved in together, like I said, a few weeks, really, honestly, a few weeks after we started officially dating. And it really just happened to be timing for both of us. He was getting out of the dorms, and where I was living wasn't the best. It wasn't unsafe or anything. It just wasn't the best environment. So we all agreed, like him, myself, his brother, and our good mutual friend Joe, and one of my good friends at the time, we all were looking for a place to go. So we kind of all talked because we hung out all the time, and we decided that we were going to rent a house all together. And then we were dating and stuff like that. So a few months later, my husband found out he was going on a deployment, and I had actually been in between jobs for about a week or two, and he proposed intoxicated on New Year's. And the next day when he woke up, he didn't know if I would remember that happened. So it was kind of a funny, cute conversation that we had, like, oh, what do you remember about last night? And I just told him, I was like, I don't know if you were serious or not, because he didn't have a ring or anything, but you mentioned that you wanted to get married because you were deploying and you wanted me to be taken care of. And we genuinely cared for each other. We fell in love with each other really quick. And he was like, oh, so you do remember that? And I was like, yeah, I do. I don't know if you were serious. It's fine if you weren't. It's no big deal. And he was like, well, what if I really was serious? And I was like, well, I would say yes. And then that just escalated. And so we got married on February 24th, 2012. And the rest is history. So that's kind of our wedding story. And at the time, I'm just going to assume people haven't watched my adoption story and stuff like that. At the time, when we got married, I was actually cutting ties again with my biological mother and sisters. And they had tried, the reason I officially cut them off and blocked them entirely for a while was because they felt that they deserved to be at our wedding. And our wedding literally consisted of my parents, my brother, his brother, and then two of my mom's really good friends. One was a photographer and one was a wedding officiant. So literally our wedding pictures are just of us and our brothers. We got married like that. It was pretty much a courthouse wedding. And then we did a little beach ceremony because my mom wanted me to have one. So we didn't have like an actual wedding. It was always something that we talked about when we could financially afford to have like a nice wedding of our own. We would do that. So next year will be our 10-year. We'll see if we do it then. If not, we will probably wait until we have the funds and we know where we want to do it at. Because currently, well, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. Trying to make sure I see everybody. Go with your gut. You used to believe every sad story. Yeah, I think a lot of people did, because you hope that people aren't trying to get money out of others maliciously. But the truth is, there's a lot of people who are like that. Hey, Beauty Demon. What type of music do you prefer? Most people wouldn't know by looking at you, but you're a huge Eminem fan. I really don't have, this shows how indecisive I am. You guys are really getting to know how indecisive I am. I don't have a particular genre that I listen to. I kind of listen to everything. I don't even know what kind of genre that is. I listen more to the music my husband listens to because he plays his Spotify in the car. So, and he usually drives when it's the two of us. So, whatever that is, he listens to like Five Finger Death Punch. On Spotify, he listens to a band called 2 Feet a lot. And I don't know what genre that is. Probably like a rock alternative genre. But I mean, I listen to everything. I can't think of one genre. I like country. I think that's probably a given since I'm from the South. Um, but I also like rap and hip hop and R&B. I like anything that you can dance to. I know how to two-step. I used to go clubbing, so that should tell you plenty. I just like to any kind of music that has a good beat that you can dance to or, get a good beat to. I enjoy. The only music I can't listen to is screamo, and that's because it gives me a headache. It's the only reason. Oh, Jake's brings up K-pop. I like K-pop, and the reason I do is because I like that. Although I can't understand what they're saying clearly, I their voices sound pretty, and they typically, from the K-pop groups that I have been introduced to, they can dance really well, and they're very choreographed, and I enjoy dancing. I danced when I was younger, so it's one of the things that I really like to do in my free time. I don't choreograph anything like that, but hey, just Britt, that's the best. Yeah, I mean, that kind of shows how laid back we really are. I mean, that our proposal and marriage should pretty much just sum up how laid back we are. Hey, Sue. Hey, Tina's. How's everybody doing? Who's sorry I'm behind in the chat. I think I'm catching up though. Do you have kids? I do not have kids. I have two dogs. I've mentioned it briefly here or there. About within the last year, we found out that we actually cannot have children naturally. So we don't have children currently. I'm sure at some point we will. But right now, our dogs are our kids. They have been pretty much since we've been married, we've always had a dog. You're in and out of cell service. That's fine. Do what's best for you. You can always watch on replay, or if this isn't interesting to you, catch the next one. Sorry, my eye itches. What made you start a YouTube channel, and what advice would you give to someone looking to start a channel? Someone who's wanting to start a channel, I just say really weigh the pros and the cons of putting yourself out to whoever may come across your channel. If you think you can handle some really awful things being said about you and to you and it not affect you, or you know how to deal with it or work through it, I say go for it. It's a learning process for everybody. I started my YouTube channel because it's kind of a long story. I'll try to get it as short as I can. And I'm not going to get emotional today. I promised myself that, just in case any emotional questions were asked. But I started my YouTube channel because I had recently moved away from my family, which I have never been away from my family. I was leaving a career that I loved, It was everything I wanted to be doing. Because of my husband's job, we moved and started all over. I had a job set up and everything, and I missed my old work. I missed working with kids. I missed, you know, helping out, which I was to some degree in the job that I was working, but I missed what I was doing. I felt a void. And then I started to think, um, it would be beneficial if there was some kind of position somewhere where people who have experienced the foster care system and who have a successful story and who didn't, almost like a motivational speaker, so in a way, but to talk to the kids, not the parents, but the kids. And I talked to a few different people. No one really knew if that position existed. So for me, I was like, well, I was a huge consumer of YouTube, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit down in front of my camera and I'm just going to tell my story. And if there's any struggling adults or children or teenagers who are wanting to hear someone else's story, maybe mine will help. So I sat down and I told the major people in my life my plan. They all were supportive, and I did. I just sat down and I started to tell my story, and then the Stauffer stuff happened, and I was really affected and offended by everything that was going on and what was being put out to the public by them, that I provided my commentary and my 2 cents. And a lot of people really liked what I said and my take on commentary, because although I personally was biased and affected, I still tried to provide my professional take on what was happening and tried to be balanced in explaining my feelings as an adoptee, but also providing a take from the professional realm of knowing that stuff like that happens and trying to explain and help educate at the same time. And then commentary just kind of took off from there, because I've always watched YouTube. I've always been a big consumer, primarily in the beauty space. So there was some other dramas going on within the beauty sphere and drama channel sphere. So I kind of provided commentary here and there on that stuff. And people enjoyed it. People enjoyed that kind of content from me more than the other content. So I was still doing a little bit of the other content, and then I transformed that into open discussions. So that's kind of how I got to where I am with my channel. So I hope that answers your question. There's more to it. That's just the quickest and briefest version I can think of. Most people assume you listen to country music, probably because of around where you live. If you're in the South, people assume that you listen to country and you only like country and everything else is offensive to you, which is not the case. That's just a stereotype. You love a dog with issues. Do your dogs have any funny or interesting ones? It depends on what you qualify as issues. I mean, Paisley's a husky. I've shown her a few times on camera. Huskies are known to be vocal and to talk. She really doesn't. I mean, she does occasionally. It's only in certain situations will she talk, and she'll like talk back to you. And Whiskey is our chocolate lab, who's like the polar opposite. He talks and grunts and growls and makes all kinds of noises. Almost, you pet him, he growls at you. His way of talking is like growling and snarling, because he's a big dog. He like growls and like talks under his breath because he wants to be pet. And then once he's pet, he gets like even more loud. And then the second you ignore him or stop petting him, he's dead silent. He's so weird. They both are weird. They both have very interesting personalities. They make me laugh all the time. Google moderator team deleted your comment. What comment? Hey Advent, how are you doing? You want your no, I don't want your chihuahuas. I'm sorry. I've talked about this before. I like all pets. I've worked in a pet store. I bathed and dried dogs for a few years. I worked at the zoo. I really love animals. If I didn't go into social work, I was going to go into like veterinary care. But I do not like small dogs to own. That sounds harsh. I like them if other people own them, but I personally do not want to own small dogs. Sounds like a typical lab to you. Yeah. He's a mess. Your pit is whiny. He doesn't really whine. Yeah, real jabber. There definitely are channels who do focus on providing a sense of community around those type of topics on a consistent basis. There's definitely a community for that. So go for it. If you're wanting to provide a space of your own for people to come to, as long as you feel when you're going into genres like that, my advice, and take it for what you will, is just make sure that you are in a safe space to have those discussions and that you're not going to feel triggered or not feel the need to relapse if someone comes to you with whatever they're dealing with. That would be my only advice in that situation. I'm doing pretty good. You weren't maternal and you never wanted children, but you work with them. I mean, that's actually a really good attribute if you can acknowledge that you don't think that would have been a good role for you and you chose not to. I've had friends who are older than me who actually, I know quite a few people who have been friendly with my family or that I ended up friends with through different work environments, who women who didn't have children because they didn't want children. And that, I think it's kind of crappy of society to put onto women that if you say you don't want kids or you didn't want to be a mother, that people automatically assume you're not nurturing or anything like that. That bothers me about society. Your Maltese doesn't bark so much. And the small dog thing for me isn't so much just that they're yappy. It's because I've been bitten by way too many in my different lines of work with dogs. I've talked about it before. When I was in grooming, I would be the one who would always opt to bathe and blow dry dogs like German Shepherds, Doberman Pinschers, Chow Chows. I was the only one who really took care of Chow Chows because I was not afraid of a big dog ever biting me. But those Chihuahuas, those Maltese, those Shih Tzus bit me every time. They don't like to be messed with, especially by strangers. So it's more because I just have a resentment because I've been bitten by too many. Your pit bull used to loudly drink water every time you went into the kitchen nonstop. You moved in, she stopped drinking in protest. I mean, I'm sure my dogs have done stuff like that. So amongst the two of them, Paisley will Whiskey can be food aggressive at times, so we feed him in the crate and Paisley's food's just out. But Whiskey knows he's not supposed to eat Paisley's food. They're fed at the same time every day, and she will intentionally not eat her food until he's out of his crate and he wants to eat hers, and then she will slowly eat her food just to antagonize him. She is such a brat. She is such a diva. Paisley is a diva if I've ever seen one. She also is a man's dog. Anytime a male friend or relative, since we've had her, has ever come into the house, she automatically gravitates towards them over women. Like if a woman walks in the door, she could care less. But if a man walks through the door, she's jumping for joy off of her feet, licking their face. I don't know what it is. Probably because she's spoiled by her dad. Does it bother you to get online hate, or do you just brush it off? I mean, the first time I really got any wave of hate, it bothered me because, like, I didn't feel some of it was fair. Then I had the conversation with myself that I knew that coming into this, people aren't going to like me for a number of reasons, whether they don't like my appearance, whether they don't like how I talk about things, they don't like a stance or an opinion that I have. Some people just don't like others, and that's totally fine. And I just had to have that conversation. At this point, I don't care. I was afraid to really make anybody feel that they weren't a part of the community here because I try to always say, like, I don't want people to feel that they can't provide their opinion, even if it's a different one of mine. And I feel the environment online, and almost especially the commentary community, it's almost expected that the creator is going to have an echo chamber, and people are afraid to talk out in chats because they get targeted, if not by the creator, by other people in the chat. And I had learned more recently, honestly, than not, that I really don't want to perpetuate that. I've gone through and unblocked just about every person that I've had blocked on my channel. I'm starting fresh. I think during that time that I'm referring to, I was a little bit sensitive because it was kind of caught off guard. And if people are going to be downright nasty to me, I will block them, and I'm not going to unblock people. Again, I'm starting fresh because I'm kind of going in a similar but slightly different direction than what I have been with my channel. So I want to start off totally fresh. I hope I don't know if I answered that question in its entirety. So do I brush it off now? Yes. I could care less what people really have to say about me. But I'm not going to allow people to be assholes just because they can be. I'll read your comment, and if it's an asshole comment and it provides zero criticism and it's just downright nasty, I'm going to delete it. I mean, yeah, I read it. It's not going to affect me. It's really not. I've been through far worse than people saying shit about me online. And in my real life, I'm not afraid of confrontation. I've never been in a physical fight. I never want to be in a physical fight, but I am not afraid to have an honest debate with somebody, and I'm not afraid to disagree with somebody, and I'm not afraid to speak my mind. So, it's scary the first time you have to face that in an online platform, but once you go through it once, you kind of know what to expect. Yeah, I've had a pit bull lab mix before. It was my first dog. His name was Chewy. He was my dog. probably one of the only dogs we've ever, I mean, we've owned 4 over the last 9.5 years. We've owned 4. Um, and he was the only one that was like, they're all loyal to us, but he was the only one who would probably defend us. Sometimes I think Whiskey will. I just don't know. I don't know 100%. Hey, Sweet Tea's Recovery. All of your dogs were given to us. You want a medium large dog once they're gone. I prefer bigger dogs, but that's just me. What job have I liked the most? CPI work. I will eventually get back into that line of work. That's where I want to be. It's what I got my degree for. Your dog's name is Kitty Cat. That's funny. Won't eat until the others are done. You think she might be motherly and waiting for the other dogs to complete their food before she eats hers. That is not the intention behind Paisley, I promise you. Well, if you have any other questions, Real Jabber, feel free to ask them. You can do it here, or if you don't want to, you can reach out to me on a different platform in DMs or an email, whatever works for you. It's funny, you have to delete people on your tiny channel. Some people are just super opinionated, and like I've talked about it before. I've never been one to be negative. Like if I see something or I hear something from a creator that I don't agree with, I will try to hear them out. And if I don't agree, I'm not going to dislike the video. I'm not going to leave a nasty comment. I'm just not going to watch that channel again. I have a lot of channels that I don't watch that I used to watch because they have changed, which is fine. That's part of being a human, is that you change over time. But when I think there's some things that could be worked on that the creator has acknowledged and refuses to work on, that's when I see issues. Oh, it's fine. Yeah, don't worry about it, Sweet Teas. I'm not worried about that creator at all. How many countries have I been to? 2. Where I was born in the US. Do I have an Etsy? No, I don't. I have decided that I'm not going to launch the Etsy part of my business for a little while. I'm going to just do it through my Instagram and the YouTube channel and stuff like that for the time being. I'm looking into a few other websites that some of you guys have told me about and some people have sent me, because Etsy has a lot of hidden fees for small businesses, and it's to a point that you're not even really making any kind of profit. So I'm not going to be doing an Etsy for a little while until I get going pretty well. Do my family members and friends in real life watch your YouTube channel? Yes, my family does. My mom watches almost every video. It doesn't mean she's outed herself before. I had to fix that, but she does hang out with us from time to time. She usually watches the replay. My sister has watched most of my videos relating to my story, because I honestly never spoke with my family about some of the things that I experienced. So they all watched those series on my channel, those playlists on my channel. I don't know if my brother or my dad still watch my YouTube. I don't think so. They don't care about commentary stuff. So I don't think they engage with that stuff. A couple of my old coworkers knew about my channel and watched my channel because of my story for their own personal reasons. Most of them don't watch my commentary stuff. My mom does, just because she's like my number one fan. That's really the truth. So yeah, they do. As far as friends, not really. And honestly, I'm the kind of person who, I have a very small friend group, and the people that I am friends with are um, very busy individuals and really don't have a whole lot of time to watch YouTube, especially when it's stuff that they have no interest in. Like, they don't have interest in YouTube drama or my commentary about a creator or anything like that. So, what's your email address? It should be in my description, but I'm going to carefully type it because I'm got my computer balancing. That's my email for my YouTube channel, this channel. My email for my crafts will be separate, and that all should be launching next week if everything goes according to plan. Got to get some more stuff ready to post. You rarely dislike a video. I don't see the reason. And honestly, a dislike means the same thing as a like to the algorithm. The only person that the dislike may affect is the creator. And it may deter other people from watching. But the kind of society that we live in, people are drawn to dumpster fires. People are drawn to controversial topics. So if they see a whole bunch of dislikes, they may watch the video anyways, just because they're curious why people downvoted it. You have 2 subscribers and no videos. Hey, you're off to a good start, I guess, huh? You had your mom make a second account to comment online. Yeah, I've had to have conversations with her once that happened. Yeah, I agree, Allison. It takes a lot of energy to dislike a video or a creator, in your opinion. We all have things we dislike and ignore on YouTube. None of your friends watch the same content as you. Yeah, I don't have any friends who really, or that I've had conversations with about my YouTube channel. They all know I have one. And I'm the same as you, Britt. I watch all over the place. And in recent times, I really have only been consuming YouTube that I need to consume for content. I've been watching a lot of videos about Katie Morton and Eugenia Cooney over the last couple of weeks for that video, which hopefully it goes live tonight. If not, it'll go live tomorrow. I'm in the process. It's all filmed. I'm just in the process of editing it. So, your mom is elderly. You won't confuse her with YouTube Live. My mom is actually not the most technologically savvy person. I'm sure that's not a shock because I'm not either. But she struggles. She struggles. I agree. Moms like that are awesome. My mom has been and will continue to be my number one fan. My dad is very closely after that as well. He's just he doesn't care about this stuff. Like, he doesn't understand, I'm sure, how YouTube works. So, no sweat off of my back. Hey, chapter epilogue, how are you doing? It's a real thing. People hate watch. They have notifications. Yeah. Yeah. I think I've known about like hate watching since I used to watch Amberlynn Reid. I think most people if you have ever watched her for any period of time throughout her YouTube career, you've learned that hate watching is a thing. You haven't told your mom much about your YouTube life, but she's supportive. Yeah, my mom watches my YouTube life kind of happen. So she knows about it. I had to warn her of like the scary parts that come with YouTube, so to speak, and kind of educate her on that so she wouldn't make mistakes of like saying who she is when she's in chat and stuff like that. So that's the downside to it. You don't think hate watching is worth it? It's not. It's people just being curious and expecting. I think part of it, my personal take is part of it is people, I don't know. There's a few different takes I have. I think sometimes people hate watch because they can't stop watching. At some point, they were invested in that person. So they want to see if there's ever change. And even though you may know there's not going to be change within that creator, you watch even though you don't like them. I don't think that all hate watching is done in an effort to be malicious to that creator. I mean, to be quite honest, I think a lot of people have hate watched Katie because they don't like her, but they're still watching her and, contributing to her AdSense because they're curious on what she's going to say or what she's going to do, even though you don't like her. And we all have our own reasons on why we judge Katie, and some people hate her and some people don't. I hope you feel better too, Jakes. YouTube, if you do it, in my opinion, this is an outlet for me. And like sitting down and talking with you guys, even when it's about harder topics or more serious topics, excuse me, it still is relaxing and therapeutic to me. And I've not forced myself to be in the position where I feel I have to film a video or I have to edit anything. I do it at my leisure when I have the time. I can't force myself because then that's when I feel like you wouldn't be getting as good of quality as I can provide you. Hopefully it will continue to increase as time goes on. My editing skills are dumpster worthy, but I'm trying to get better. Yeah, I usually just watch what I like to. When you're in the position, like, I'm not a huge fan. I think that's probably obvious of Katie Morton or Eugenia Cooney for different reasons, very different reasons. But I have consumed a lot of their content to be able to be as unbiased and come to a formulated decision for my own video. You were just about to say it was hard not to see what KJ was going to do next. You don't hate her, but you don't expect her to change behavior. And I think that's partly why people end up hate watching, is because they, at some degree, you want them to change. So you're hoping that after a few weeks and you click on a video, you're going to see that change. And that's not just with Katie, that's with almost anybody that you maybe are judgmental of for whatever reason. Coffee's almost gone. Tell you in DMs about a video and you, of course, you have to watch. Unfortunately, I fall into that category as well. If something is sent to me, I will, if you don't give me timestamps of what you're wanting me to watch, I will watch the whole thing. That's happened a couple of times where people have said, "Oh, you might want to watch this," and then I watch the whole thing. Other times people will send me videos and they'll say, this is the part that's pertinent or that I think you might want to listen to. And I will go look at it. I've learned over time, depending on who the creator is or what is being said, I will just not watch it and not listen to it. Oh my gosh, that would be scary overkill. You want to continue your little travel videos and start cooking videos. Yeah, to me, I think it's pretty clear. Like, I've kind of been all over the place with my content. My plan is to narrow down rather than having this wide content. I'm going to narrow it down to just a few certain things that is what you guys like from me on this channel. You see posts on Twitter and then you go watch the whole video. I don't get sucked in by Twitter like that. I really don't engage with Twitter like that. Like, I do open Twitter and I've tried to get better over the last week or two at posting on Twitter and like trying to be a little bit more interactive. But I primarily use Twitter just for DMs because Twitter, I've always said since I've been on Twitter, is just a cesspool. Yeah, Sue does make other people watch too. All right. Does anybody have any other questions? I am going to try to wrap this up in the next like 15, 20 minutes. I said I was going to cap it at an hour. I'll go a little bit over just so you guys can ask any lingering questions. And if there aren't any, I will just explain to you guys like my plan moving forward with the channel and everything like that. Fun stuff. I know there's a little bit of a delay between when I say stuff and when you guys, so I always feel weird after I ask a question and sit here. You enjoy the chit chats. Oops, sorry. Stretched my leg out and kicked my stand. All right, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them or drop them in the comments, and I will answer as many as I can in the comments below if you were watching the replay and you weren't able to make this live. Who is my favorite creator? I honestly don't have one. I don't have a favorite creator. I watch content all over the place. I've not found any one person that I look up to so many. I pretty much look up to just about everybody to some degree and try to take like motivation and inspiration from almost even creators that are judged harshly across the platform. Like, I just try to learn from other people's mistakes and try not to make the same mistakes that they did. But I honestly can't think of one creator that it was Raw Beauty Kristi for a very long time, but to be honest, like, I haven't watched any of her content. I know she was gone because of her little boy. Definitely expected, and she deserving of that. But I don't think I have a favorite creator. My husband, how does he feel about my YouTube channel? He doesn't mind it. He, at one point in time, he probably was feeling that I was putting a lot of effort into my channel. Now he's appreciative of that. I mean, he's never commented, so it's not like anybody's going to know who he is, but he's watched some lives from the living room while I've been on here just to kind of see what it's like. He doesn't care. Bye for now. You've been getting migraines because of how much time you spend on tech for. Really? Oh, I'm sorry you've been getting migraines. I definitely know the pain of that. I hope you feel better. What's my favorite TV show? I don't have just one. I have more of like a network. I like my favorite network to watch is ID. That's what I watch when my husband's not here or when I'm home alone or in the background for noise. That's what I typically watch. True crime stuff really interests me. So that's what I personally prefer. As on the polar opposite end of that, as I talked about it might have been last night, or yesterday, I really have kind of crude humor, and like adult cartoons are probably my second favorite TV shows to watch. So I'm just going to, yeah, I can't help it. It's like solving the mystery is interesting to me. So kind of what to expect, and this maybe should have been at the beginning of this video for anybody who might be interested in the replay. So kind of what's to expect moving forward. I will be ironing out at some point a solid upload schedule. I'm going to always do open discussions, and I ran a poll on my community tab. That was something that was brought up in my crafting live late last night. And if you haven't seen it and you want to weigh in on it, I would appreciate that. I'm thinking about opening like a second part to open discussion, and I will think of how to title it. But I want to offer people who are a part of this community or passing through this community who want to, whether it be to gain support, whether it be to, be heedance of warning to others, or just to get it off of your chest to tell your story of any kind of experience, whether it was a positive one or a negative one, whatever you may want to share with others because you don't have a platform and you'd like to express what you've experienced. I have a poll going. If the majority of people want to have that be a part, I will start to dedicate a day or an evening every 2 weeks or once a month for people to be on the channel with me. And I'm not going to be doing any therapy work. Keep in mind, I cannot do therapy work, but really just asking questions that others may have. I will be the one monitoring the chat. That way, whoever it is can just focus on what they want to get out. Offering support if support is needed. And then, of course, if resources are something that whoever it is ends up needing, I will have that conversation with them afterwards. So if that's something that you would like to participate in or that you think is a good idea, please vote. And if it's something you want to be a part of personally, you can just reach out to me via email, DM, whatever is easiest for you. If you want to remain anonymous, we can figure out a way for that to occur. So that is something that I'm thinking about integrating into the content. Otherwise, content changes. There's going to be, which I've already kind of implemented, there's going to be a lot less makeup content for everyone. My more creative, like nail and makeup content may be put out occasionally, but that's kind of going to stick to memberships. Vlog style videos are going to be just for the members. I'm not going to load any of that here. Commentary on YouTube stuff will still be occasional like it has been, and I'm going to more focus on some things like the Gabriel Fernandez story. I have about 6 or 7 stories that you guys have brought to me, whether it's because of one that you've heard of or one that you want me to talk about. And I'm going to focus my content on kind of being about that stuff. So random live streams and stuff like that may happen occasionally, but they're not going to happen as frequent. I will be live streaming doing my crafts on my crafting channel, hopefully as of next week. Until I have everything up and running, I will probably do my lives occasionally on this channel when I'm doing stuff. So that's kind of what to expect. But I'm kind of just cutting out the stuff that people don't seem to be interested in, or it's a very select few who are interested in that. And I'm not going to totally eliminate it, but it is going to be reduced. And I just wanted to let everybody know. Also, there's another poll that I ran not only on Twitter, but also on YouTube. And I will be scheduling that live stream. I was going to just do a video in relation to that, but I think the way that people are commenting about me discussing this creator are very polar, and I understand both arguments. That's why I wanted to leave it up to my subscribers or people who support me to be the ones to decide if it's something I should talk about. So I'm going to have that as a live, so it can be an open discussion. That way, no matter where you sit on the fence with that creator, you can weigh in and we can have a discussion, because at the end of the day, that's really all I'm trying to allow happen, is for people who have been hurt or felt that they were bamboozled or anything like that are able to just get their emotions out, let them feel heard, and hopefully as a community, anybody who's been affected, whether positively or negatively, can hopefully move on and move past the hurdle. There's been a lot of these within the community lately, and I think it's just going to be best for everybody, rather than me sitting down and just talking to a camera and not really giving anybody else the ability to talk. I know some people don't feel as comfortable in leaving a comment under a video, knowing it'll stay there, than what they're willing to maybe contribute to a live discussion where they're hearing others' opinions and others' feelings at the same time. Whether that's in agreement with me or not, totally fine. I'm not expecting it to go any one way or another. So I will be scheduling that within the next couple of days and letting you guys know when that will be. So with all of that being said, does anyone have any follow-up questions due to all of that information I just provided, or any question that you may have had that you didn't ask earlier? A special Bluetooth headband. Ooh. You've got stories to share. You're welcome to reach out to me if you want to be a part of that, and we can discuss all of the ins and outs for anybody who wants to be a part of that kind of content, of me like allowing others to come on and chat. Why are you guys in here? Yeah, Paisley came in here. What are you doing? Come here. Paisley. Come here. I don't know if I can, you guys can see her head. I don't know. Hey, come here. Here's Paisley. Can you say hi real quick? Thank you. She must have pushed the gate open. Thank you. Yeah, she's a good girl. Go on. And here's the other big dopey boy. What are you doing? You can't fit. He thinks he's a small dog. And I think that's a thing for all labs. Our other lab pit that we had. He's just a lab. Go. Go on. Hey. Go. Get out of here. Go on. Out. Um he's a big baby. He thinks he's a lap dog and he's not. I appreciate that, Michelle. And if anything comes up of that nature, I will ask the individual. And if they want additional support for that, I will talk to the person and then you if that's something they're open to. Alrighty. Yeah, there's such a lag that I never know how far the lag is. She's a pain. I would imagine they probably want to go outside. That's probably why they're coming in here. So I'm not seeing too many questions roll through. So I am going to go ahead and end the live. Again, as always, you guys, if you have any additional questions, you can leave them in the comment section or you can reach out to me privately, whatever works for you. Otherwise, I'm going to try and get this other video edited and posted for you guys. I can't promise it'll be today. It may be tomorrow. But that video is coming out, and then hopefully I can iron out a good schedule between everything I've got going on between this channel and getting the crafts up and running. But until then, I have a couple of things I need to epoxy, so I may hop on a live later this evening. It really just depends. So, I hope everybody has a good day, evening, or night, wherever you are, and I will see you next time.